I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode number 121. It is Wednesday morning, June 5th, 2013, and here we are with our picks for the week and things that we think you should check out this week. So much good stuff this week. We're going to do one of the ever-popular lightning round episodes, so get ready. We're going to blow through a bunch of comics and tell you why we like them. So I will start with my actual pick of the week, which is 10 Grand number 2 by J. Michael Straczynski and Ben Templesmith. You may recall that I was a big fan of issue number 1, and I must admit I'm a huge Straczynski fan. I've liked the majority of what he's written. There's some stumbling along the way, but he's a great storyteller, and that's what makes this series and these first 2 issues so great. Templesmith's art is love it or hate it, and I'm somewhere in the middle, actually. So I guess there are 3 different degrees there, not just love it or hate it. There's tolerate it, or it's okay, or I'm learning to like it. That could be one, too. But the real selling point is Straczynski's storytelling ability with this series. It feels like a combination of Dresden Files meets Constantine meets something new, and I like all of those things, so that's why I liked it. And you should like it too. We actually sold out of the first issue within the first 2 weeks of being out. We do have second prints of issue 1 that are in this week to go along with the first printing of issue number 2.
And I also loved 10 Grand issue 2 this week. What I especially enjoyed was Straczynski. I'm going to say exactly what you said. Straczynski's storytelling. But not necessarily the overall arc, but like the actual individual dialogue. A lot of this is told from kind of a noir point of view, where you get the voiceover, the Humphrey Bogart in your head telling you about the dame that's going to be trouble, except it's about demons and saving your soul and all sorts of horrible, horrible things. And it just really, really works. Straczynski has a great ear for dialogue, and it especially was clear in the stuff in this issue. I also like that we're starting to see that he doesn't show us too much of this world. I mean, we know there's obviously demons and magic and darkness and angels, and we're seeing edges. They throw things in, they never really bother explaining them, but it gives a great depth to the world. You believe that this is a real world with real demons, and it's just so much fun. And my actual pick this week is Daredevil Dark Knights number 1. This is a new series, written and drawn by Lee Weeks, and it is awesome. It is a self-contained Daredevil story told at an indeterminate point in his past. It doesn't seem to be directly tied to anything currently going on. So if you haven't read Daredevil forever, you can pick this up and be absolutely fine. But it's just really good. It evokes... One of the key things about Matt Murdock Daredevil has always been his faith. He's one of the few Marvel heroes that is a card-carrying Catholic. He believes in a world where there's gods running alongside him and they fought the devil and magic and science. And this book gives almost a sense of wonder, of awe, like going to church. There are passages from the Bible that poignantly poke at him and whatnot in the book, and it's just amazing.
It is amazing, which is why it's in my stack as well, and for a number of reasons. I am a huge Lee Weeks fan. His work on Daredevil back in the late 80s and 90s is excellent, and that's what makes this book so special. Daredevil was really his breakout book, and he's gone on to many great things. I do want to clarify a couple things. This is an 8-issue miniseries. The first 3 issues are a Lee Weeks story. Issues 4 and 5 are a David Lapham story, and issues 6, 7, and 8 is someone else, and I don't remember who. So it's a Daredevil anthology, and again, as Josh said, it takes place out of time. It's not in continuity. It's just a chance for Daredevil creator fans, the guys that work in comics who like Daredevil, to tell great stories. And I have never read anything that Lee Weeks has written before. I don't know if he's actually written any comics before. He's primarily known as an artist, but I was totally blown away by his writing ability. And the Christian overtones that Josh was talking about stem from Lee Weeks' own beliefs. He's a Christian. He's not ashamed of it. He talks about it a lot. And the reason I know this is because one of our customers, Monty Sheldon, shout out to Monty, was at the Joe Kubert School when Lee Weeks was there. So he told us about that in a good way. So his artwork has not missed a beat. I think it may have actually gotten better, unlike some creators that have been in comics for decades and their work has gotten a little shoddy. His work has gotten even better, and it's just an amazing story, especially for Daredevil fans.
I feel like we're talking too much for Lightning Round.
Yeah.
My next pick this week is Hero Bear and the Kid by Mike Kunkel, Words and Music, or Words and Pictures. And this was a free comic book day preview book, which I really enjoyed. It's an all-ages title. It's completely original characters. It's fun. It's a guy about a kid who has a bear that turns into a superhero flying bear. It's just awesome. Cool black and white artwork drawn out with some highlights in just red. I loved it.
And just a quick
That is
thing to
all.
add there. Yes, it's a very, very Disney-esque animation style of artwork, and it really reminds me of this old Warner Brothers cartoon that I cannot for the life of me remember what it's called, but it's this kid who looks just like that kid, and he daydreams through his day. He's in class, and he's daydreaming, and he's going off on all these different adventures. It really is like that, and
Sounds like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
one day I'll remember what that is, but it was, when I would watch Bugs Bunny all the time as a kid, it was always in rotation in the Warner Brothers cartoons.
I get blamed for everything I do. Maybe if I was drowned, saving them from getting drowned, then they'd appreciate me.
So anyway, next up for me is more Daredevil. It was a great week for Daredevil fans. End of Days number 8 of 8. This is the final issue of the end of Daredevil, what happens at the end somewhere down the road. And it was a very satisfying ending. The series kind of meandered a little bit during the 8 issues. It probably could have been 6 issues or 5 issues. It's written by Brian Michael Bendis with help from David Mack, and it's got great artwork by Klaus Janson and Bill Sienkiewicz. Just a lot of fun, and fun is the wrong word. It's great, again, for Daredevil fans because it plays on the emotions that you have for this character and the deep history that this character has. And a character that doesn't get his due most of the time. Daredevil is not mentioned usually in the top 10 of... I don't know if he's anybody's favorite hero. But he's mine. He's one of mine. And End of Days, if you've been reading it, you will not be disappointed by the ending.
Next up, we got Red Team number 3 by Garth Ennis. This is the story of cops who decide that some guys needs to get killed and how they kill them. The book continues to be great. There's the cool thing where we learn, it's almost like a heist type thing where we learn who they pick, why they target them, and how they pull the jobs off. But there's also a lot of great character development, which is a little unusual for a Garth Ennis book, but he's just knocking it out of the park, making you care about these cops and kind of watch as their lives slowly descend and they sell their souls to take out bad guys. Red Team's awesome.
Thanos Rising, number 3, written by Jason Aaron, art by Simone Bianchi. And as I was reading this, I was really thinking of the great villain stories that we've gotten in the Marvel Universe. The villain backstories. We have the Red Skull story that Greg Pak did not too long ago. We have Magneto Testament, which may have also been Greg Pak, I think.
Maybe.
And now we have Thanos Rising, which is giving us the backstory of a big bad in the Marvel Universe. And it is so good. It really pulls on your heartstrings. The ending to this book was just like, oh, God, it was a gut punch. But this is definitely one, if someone comes in at some point and says, hey, tell me about Thanos, I want to learn about Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet is a book to give them later. Thanos Rising is going to be the book to give a new reader that wants to know about Thanos. And it's a lot of fun. I could talk more, but I won't. Next.
Legends of the Dark Knight number 9. This is the Batman anthology series. We got 2 stories this week. One from Christos Gage, whom I love and is awesome, and the other by Ray Fox. Art on the Gage stories by Jeremy Rapak, and Stefan Rue does the art on the Fox story. In my opinion, the greatest Batman story ever told is Batman the Animated Series. It was great because they could do 22-minute episodes picking a Batman story that they liked and run off with it. It wasn't a slave to continuity. It just told great Batman stories. And that's what this series does. The first issue especially, or the first story in this, the Gage story, which is a Scarecrow story, especially called to mind this to me. It's just a great one-and-done Batman story that enhances your affection for the Dark Knight, but it doesn't retell stuff we've already seen. Legends is great.
Suicide Risk number 2. This is by Mike Carey and Elena Casagrande. And this is about a cop in a world full of superpowered beings. He goes through a tragedy, and there is a way for normal people to develop powers. The problem is, once they get powers, they always go bad. So he makes the decision, in order to fight these guys, I need to be on the same level as they are, and damn the consequences. So we see what happens now that this guy has developed powers. What changes have been made to his life? How does he continue? How does he continue to function as an officer of the law? And it's really good. It's another one of those indie books that you really should be checking out. Fresh, different, exciting, really solid artwork, great storytelling by Mike Carey.
Next up, Iron Man. Oh, I was thinking there was an Invincible or an Indeterminable or something. There's not. It's just Iron Man, issue 11. This is the next part of the secret origin of Tony Stark, where we find that Tony's been messed with by alien robots. And it's so much fun. Words by Kieran Gill and art by Dave Eaglesham. And I don't know what to tell you. It's great. The first issue was a little slow build up, but the next 2 issues have really knocked it out of the park. And I especially like the view we're getting of Howard Stark. We get to see what choices he's willing to make to keep his family safe and to bring his son into the world.
Also in my stack, Iron Man number 11, Dale Eaglesham, not Dave.
Oh, sorry.
But
Sorry, Dave.
this is a game changer for the Marvel
Yeah.
Universe and for Iron Man. If you're looking for stories that are going to have importance, that are going to have weight within the Marvel Universe, this is one. Crazy stuff happens, and there are manipulations and revelations, and it's really good. That was it. Yeah. Oh, it's me. Back to me. All New X-Men, number 12. And the cover is All New X-Men Meet the Uncanny Avengers. This is by Brian Michael Bendis with art by Stuart Immonen. And this book has just been excellent from the get-go. All 12 issues have been incredible. Very, very good. Okay, they're okay. No. They've all been good reads. And the high point of this issue for me is young Scott Summers, who was brought from the past to the present, gets to meet his brother Havoc, Alex Summers, who is now the leader of an Avengers team. And Scott hasn't seen Alex since they were shoved out of a plane by their father when they were young children, and they ended up going to different homes, being adopted by different families, or going to different orphanage. I don't remember all the details. It was a long time ago. But just the emotion that's conveyed in the artwork and the storytelling of an older brother, Havoc, seeing Scott as a young man, it's really cool. And in the meantime, in the background, you've got Wolverine and Captain America squaring off, which is always fun to see. Those guys they're really good buddies, but they also are adversaries more often than not. I loved it.
Yeah, no, I loved it too. This is absolutely a relationship book. The relationship between Scott and Havoc, the relationship between Wolverine and Cap, the relationship between Jean Grey and the whole of the cast is especially dominant in this story. And yes, I think you said everything I wanted to say. The Uncanny Avengers are all over the place this week. They're also popping up in one of the other X books.
I didn't read another book with the Uncanny Avengers.
Yeah, they were in there. They were in one of
Okay.
them. But just awesome. Uncanny Avengers is still great.
And one last comment on this, and I always talk about things that are new and different, and it's great that there is so much to choose from these days. But when a continuity book or a series from the big two does it right, it's really, really cool. And that's what All New X-Men is doing, and Uncanny Avengers as well. They're using these characters that have been around forever, and they're really playing again on our emotions, those of us that grew up in the 80s or the 70s or even the 90s, to see the interaction between these characters. And even in All New X-Men, there are references to House of M and the Scarlet Witch and what she did, and that was, like 6-7 years ago?
At least.
So some of the companies, some of the groups still believe in continuity, and when it's done right, it's such a joy.
It was Cable and X-Force. I remembered. That was the other book with the Uncanny Avengers showing up.
Well done. All right, well, there's our lightning round for this week. We've given you plenty to chew on. Head out to your local comic book store, and if that's us, please come down and see us, and we'll be happy to talk comics with you. Thanks for watching. Share this with your friends. We'll see you next time.